Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of The War on China. This is episode 14, where we're going to be talking about, Afghanistan. Now, what? Now that the Taliban is in power, what is going to take place? So, we're going to review a few topics regarding Afghanistan, and we're going to also talk about Xi's war on wealth and how he wants prosperity for all the people, not just a few people. So let's start with saying hello to all the new viewers, the new subscribers, the people who had
Oh
just
yeah,
stumbled upon this
nice,
video. Welcome
nice,
to our
nice.
show. Make sure to subscribe and to hit the bell button. Also, make sure to give this video a like because it really helps with the algorithm.
Yeah,
I finished up this introduction by welcoming Mr. Mario Cavolo. How are you today, sir?
yeah, and let me, Fernando. I'm doing great. Great to be back. Nothing's changed, but no, wait a minute. That's not a true statement. Starting with the fact that the show's growing, we got more subscribers, more viewers, more action. You and I have had a wonderfully dramatic increase in interview requests.
Mm.
And they're going up. This is exciting, and it's exciting, and it reminds me of the fact that what we're doing is important. So let me take a moment to say hi to all of our friends, especially our new friends who are watching. We really do appreciate you. You with us understand what's going on. And I just said what's going on. Nothing's changed. The same old crazy stuff going on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not
Somebody's
true.
asking, are you still angry?
That's it. Yeah, that's it, right? So yeah, we're still angry. We're still experts. And again, some people say you should never say that. We never talk about rhetoric. We never state our cases based on assertoric and rhetoric, blah, 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 blah. Okay? We talk about things
Mhm.
that are demonstrably evidently true, demonstrably evidently certain, demonstrably evidently can be seen with our eyes in reality. This is where we always want to keep our focus, right? I know everybody agrees with that. I know, Fernando, I know you agree with that. And
Indeed.
but yeah, but I want to go back to this idea of, you get on you say nothing's changed, the same old garbage with the United States government being warmongering, nothing's changed, and China this and China that. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Today's show is very indicative of the fact that we could have two major things that have begun to change. The death of United States warmongering imperialism is at our doorstep. It is. Number one. That's what's changed. Am I right about that? Hey, you.
You're
Think
definitely
about
positive about that.
right. No, seriously. Okay, this is what Afghanistan, the Afghanistan situation has done. It's shined a light on the fact that, hey, the United States has got to change the ways of its last 70 years. This is so apparent, so obvious that moving forward, if they don't, they just look worse and worse and worse. So we're seeing a shift. We're seeing, the rise in the uproar all over the world at what they've done, but we could see the light at the end of the tunnel that it's coming to an end. Now, that's our topic number one to talk about. And our topic number two to talk about, that's something that's changing, is related to this Western war, these Western warmongering, Western warmongering wars. Okay, I'll go with that. Why not? Let's go with that. Are also about the false spread of freedom, democracy, and justice, when what it really has been about is the imperialistic spread of wanton, wild, greedy Western capitalism out of control. And we have Xi's war on wealth. We have the
Mm.
people's summer. We have Xi coming out, pushing the agenda now to say, oh, and I wrote a quote down. At the end of his comment, this just came out in Xinhua News, and again, this is our second topic for the show. He said, not the prosperity of a few people. And that's what these Western sons of bitches have done to the world. the prosperity of a few people. So that's our two things that are changing in the world. China is a force for good in this respect and many respects. I don't care if you don't want to hear that or not, some of you anti-China morons out there. Okay, that's the realities. And this U.S. warmongering just may be coming to an end. That's our two big topics for the show, Fernando.
Yeah, there are four sections that I want to address in today's video talking about Afghanistan. The first one is, well, who earned? Who earned? Because people are painting Afghanistan as a big loss, but really, when you're injecting or spending $300 million a day for 20 years, somebody earned quite a lot. So we're going to talk about
gained.
who
You mean
earned
gained and gained. Who earned? Who gained?
Exactly.
Yes.
We're also going to talk about who lost. We're going to talk about all these people that are crying about, oh, the women, the children. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the people who are left behind in Afghanistan and the people who are left behind in the US, the huge problem with PTSD. We're also going to talk about a very important part is how NATO and the United States are scrubbing the records on the internet of the war crimes. So I got a clip for you on that. And that is connected to something that we will expand a little bit called the Hague Invasion Act of 2002 by George Bush. It's all related to avoiding going to International Criminal Court for war crimes that are recorded on video and that we've all seen. So that's another topic that we're going to address today. This might be a bit of a long live stream. Another thing that we are going to talk about is, well, the Taliban and China. The Taliban is already in power in China, and they're already in power in Afghanistan. I misspoke. It happens. And the idea is, how is China going to cooperate with them? The most important thing that I want to say about that is where we lied about the Taliban. I mean, the same people that keep telling us that Xinjiang is experiencing a genocide, that Xinjiang has forced labor, that Xinjiang has no religion. Those same people are the ones who told us that the Taliban were horrible. So here's my problem. When I'm here in China, when I can go to Xinjiang, when I see that there's actually no genocide taking place in Xinjiang, I start to question everything that they have told me about anything that they told me about Venezuela, anything that they've told me about Cuba, everything that they told me about Putin, everything. Now I need to go back and analyze everything with you, the viewers, step by step, and looking at what is true and what is not true about the Taliban. Have they committed atrocities? Is very likely. Have they changed? That's yet to be seen. So we're going to talk about that also. And the last thing that we're going to talk about, the consequences of the United States just leaving, is refugees. Where are they going? We've already heard from different leaders saying like, we don't want any more refugees over here. One of the reasons why England went ahead with the Brexit was because of immigration. And now, well, they're moving away from Afghanistan and they're saying like, hey, are you going to take some of these refugees? And Boris Johnson already said like, no. We're going to slow things down because we don't want refugees here. The same with Macron. And well, America is yet to do anything to actually do something about the people that they left behind. So it's a very long video. We're going to go show you different aspects of everything that I've introduced right now, but just make sure to grab a drink, get a snack, because we're going to go deep into all these things. So Mario, you wanted to say something before we go on, or should I show the video? Mario was just recently on CGTN again. I say again because this man is a fixture of China media, and this is why it's important that you guys listen to what he has to say here on YouTube on our channels. So would you like me to show the video? Or would you like to say something before that? Okay,
I was on with Shui Qinduo. Play the clip.
Okay, here we go.
You know, it's a new day, number one. Number two, we expect the Taliban to behave well. And in that particular case, as a government and as a new government, that also specifically includes much better treatment of women. And please, don't kill anyone. You know, and on the other hand, we also are looking for the same thing from the United States, okay? Stop killing innocent people. Stop making trouble. Now, the United States just went ahead and froze Afghan funds. I mean, you know, there they are trying to step up and do a good job. And what's the United States go and do? And they go and freeze all the Afghan assets before they even give them a chance to start. Taliban pledges to create a stable government not to harm the life, property, and honor of its citizens. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
Let's see now what's going to happen.
Yeah, we will touch upon that.
Let me repeat it.
All right.
Things have changed. Let me repeat it. Taliban pledges to create a stable government not to harm the life, property, and honor of its citizens. Now, the Taliban held a press conference. That's what they said. That's what they are Now, we have to make a distinction right away. Are you happy to hear what I just read and said? Sure you are. There's not a human being on planet Earth who's not happy to hear that. However, we've got to make the distinctions. Okay, is the effort happening on the part of the Taliban to say, we're going to be decent? There it is. I just read it. They held an international press conference within a very short period of days to say, we are making this enormous attempt to turn over a new leaf. Are they full of baloney? Anyone? We don't know yet. You know, Fernando, it's like, you know, we take this as a personal example, right? New York, East Coast, Italian mafia back in the 1960s, Godfather, you know, you're my neighborhood enemy you've been running over there in that neighborhood over there, Fernando, hey, you're my, you know, and I killed your cousin, and you know, you beat up my brother, and you know, we hate each other's guts. And then one day, you know, I mean, right? And then one day I come to you and I say, hey, truce, Fernando. Forget all this crap we did. I did bad things. You did bad things. Absolutely true. Truce. I pledge no, I will never harm anyone in your family again, Fernando. I'm saying this to you now. That's it. You have my word. Okay. You're going to give me the space? You're going to give me space to let it be true? You know, you're going to give it space. Okay. You know what? I hope what you just said to me, Mario, is true. Right? So organizations, now, no matter how radical they are, no matter how extremist they are, that, you know, they're not these are not stupid people. These are not stupid people, okay? So they are making the effort in that direction. We're seeing it on the political side. Now, what I kept tweeting a few days ago was, show me the violence on the ground that the Taliban is committing. That's all I kept asking for the whole day. Someone show me the violence on the ground that the Taliban is committing, slaughtering its citizens, and et cetera, going against its word. And the answer is no. Not as a group, not by the orders of the Taliban. There are some local skirmishes. There have been some local shootings. There have been some local assaults, and even some people have died. Both sides, people have been shot and killed, okay? Those are skirmishes by individual people, you know, down in the ranks, okay? And that's bad, and that's unfortunate. Those things are the consequence of the situation that, this turmoil that any situation like that is going to experience. Doesn't matter whether it's Taliban, Israel, Palestine, United States, Nicaragua, China, you know, China, India. There was unfortunate shooting. Some people, some of the soldiers were killed a few months ago at the India-China border. I mean, those local skirmishes are going to happen. And that's unfortunate. However, let's see what the Taliban is doing here on moving forward with this pledge to provide and bring their own people good governance. Let's see. Let's give it the space. That's what I said on Dialogue, and that's what I'm saying here today. Fernando, go ahead.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about those who earn, because it is really mind-boggling when you think about a government that is investing $300 million a day for 20 years in bombing and destroying a country the other side of the world. And you have to ask, okay, what was actually created? What was the result of all those $300 million a day for 20 years invested there? Jimmy Dore was on RT just the other day talking about his suggestion is for America to invade America, for America to invade California, for America to invade America so that we can actually, well, that the Americans can actually start to invest $300 million a day in eradicating poverty, in bringing education to the American people, in bringing, building homes to the American people. So where did that money go? If you go into Afghanistan today, you got to ask yourself, where did that money go? Some people say that a lot of the money went to, well, the government that the Americans put in place. It is said that the president of Afghanistan left the palace with millions of dollars in bags, but they said about $160 million. But that would be half a day worth of what the Americans gave Afghanistan for the last 20 years. So that seems like very little money.
They didn't give it to
who
Afghanistan.
were the real winners?
Right. The
no. Let's see who did they give it to.
Yes.
Yep. They gave it to Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Boeing, and Lockheed Martin. These are the people who benefited from the war in Afghanistan. These are the people who are now financing groups like ASPI in Australia, groups like the NED, to start skirmish and start trouble in China to try to stop it. They want war. These are the winners of the war in Afghanistan. So let's not be fooled. We need you to understand and spread the word out there that America is a war economy. That's all it is. I've said it, and I know that I have a lot of American friends who disagree with me, but prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. It is a war economy. They need war. And that's the most concerning part when we're asking, okay, Afghanistan is down to the Taliban. Now what? Do you think these people are going to be satisfied? The shareholders are going to be satisfied with the trillions of dollars that they took out of Afghanistan? And that's it? They're going to retire? No, sir. They're going to be looking for another place to start another war. And all the indicators are that they want to start it with China. And that's where we need to step it up, take action. And you, our viewers, the people who understand where the money goes and how the world turns from the leadership of America, you need to take action and start talking to your representatives of the people who lead you to stop taking money from the MIC, the military industrial complex, because they are going to take us down a path of extinction. Let me explain. We are going to go head to head with two nuclear powers. This is a word that we've never had before. So that is the biggest risk, and that is where you need to take action and do something. We do our show because this is all we can do. But you out there electing those representatives, those senators, that all they do is take money from the military industrial complex and basically screw you over. 300 million a day. 300 million a day. Why do you have the schools that you have? Why do you have the infrastructure that you have? Why do you have the technology that you have? Why do you have the housing problem that you have? People who are still working, have jobs, and are homeless. How could you be homeless and have a job? How could that be? How did America, the leadership, the Senate, the president, the government let that happen? So let's move on to another topic. Mario, do you have any comments or anything that you would like to add?
Sure. I wanted to ask if it's appropriate here or afterwards. I'd sent you one of those screenshots of exactly this topic of how the money is going to all these contractors and projects. Did you plan to flash that on the screen, or can I just read from it?
I didn't get it. Sorry.
No, all good. So I'd sent yeah, sure. I'd sent this to you. Let's have a discussion about exactly what Fernando's mentioning here. But you talked about one side of where all the billions of dollars were going, which was to the big companies, Northrop, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, the big defense contractors. But I got some more information from Matt Taibbi. Let me credit it. A few things here that come from Matt Taibbi. You might know he's the renowned and amazing writer that was with Rolling Stone for many years. He's got his own Substack newsletter now, and I mean he's a legend. He's a legend. Matt Taibbi's a legend as a journalist and a reporter. And he had been reviewing some of the aspects of what was happening in Afghanistan, and I'm just going to read this little bit to you. It's not much, but it's important, and also just a little of Matt's work. A major delusion of American war efforts anywhere in the world is that the missions are undertaken for the reasons given. The line against communism. What a joke. That's a joke. To build democracy and arrest poverty in places like Iraq or Afghanistan. What a joke. Or eliminate security havens for antagonists like Al-Qaeda, which is what Afghanistan was supposedly all about. Our presence may begin under the auspices of such excuses. But what happens every time is that the missions assume bureaucratic lives of their own and contracting, meaning companies that contracted with government money to do stuff while they're there, becomes an end in itself. $70 million in proceeds lost to a scheme in which a former translator worked with special forces to embezzle and divert funds from a trucking company. $6 million lost when a contractor defrauded NATO on a food services contract. The U.S. Agency for International Development spent $800,000 on a project to collect data designed to support the involvement of women in governance. But the survey was never done and the data was never collected. So someone just took the money. And it goes on and on and on. And all of this happens through bidding of government money to contractors through the, Fernando, war effort. Millions and billions of dollars going through Afghanistan and, Haiti with the Clinton Foundation and all of this. It goes on and on and on. It's a money machine. It's a money machine for contract. Everybody gets the point, Fernando?
All right. We have made it abundantly clear that this is just the way America moves and kickstarts its economy. When the economy is going down, start a war somewhere. Well, let's talk now a little bit about those who lost. There has been something circulating around media related to PTSD. This is something that was actually published. It was an email that was sent to a lot of VAs in America. When you lose the war, when you are humiliated in such a way, obviously the people who took part in that war are going to feel something is not right here. Why did we go to war for? When the Afghan papers came out and the leadership was actually saying, well, we don't really know what we're doing there, but now you have lost that war. One more war that America has lost. So this is affecting people. And, well, the VA is sending this email. You're not alone. Veterans may question the meaning of their service or whether it was worth the sacrifices they made. They may feel more moral distress about experiences they had during the service. This is what they worried about. They're worried about how their people are going to feel. They don't really worry too much about the people that they bombed and killed, innocent people. The women and children that we're supposed to be defending, now they don't matter much. What matters is the people who were doing the actual killing. And just because the war on China is the war on China, this is what America's all about. I need help with my PTSD. There you go. This is your Republicans and this is your NRA. All I can do for you guys is a parade and 10% on a handgun. This brings us to something that was taking place in DC earlier today or yesterday if you're in America. There was a man around DC saying that he had a truck full of explosives and saying that He was ready to die for the cause. He was ready to die for America. The amount of mental health combined with the amount of weapons and access to ammunition and dangerous stuff in America, it is crazy. Sorry, Mario, you were raising your hand.
I'm good. Just throwing in a statistic: 28 veterans a day committing suicide. You know.
And where's the help for them? This is just a hotline. Just call us, and we'll see what we can do. Now, I want to liaise now to the third part that I want to talk about Afghanistan. There were evidences, there were videos, and there's evidence, and there were so many war crimes that were committed in Afghanistan. We all saw the video of the SAS actually executing a person that is unarmed in a rice field. That video shook me to the core. And what is NATO and what are some of the allies doing now? They're trying to wipe all evidence and all records of these war crimes that were recorded and documented. So let me show you this very short clip. Sorry, guys. I seem to have lost Mario for some reason. I'll wait until he pops in and continue my discussion with him. But nonetheless, I want to continue talking about this the scrubbing of war crimes on the internet. And this is something that really we need to consider. Why do we give so much power to the United States? Why do we give so much power to NATO? Why do we allow them to dictate how the world actually works? I want to refer to you to something that was pointed out on Twitter just the other day to me, something called the Hague Invasion Act. Hague Invasion Act, this basically means that the United States, if there are any war criminals that are going to be treated or on trial, in the Hague, the Americans can actually go into the Hague and remove them, even with military force. The new law authorizes the use of military force to liberate any American or citizen of a U.S. allied country being held by the court, the ICC, which is located in the Hague. This provision, dubbed the Hague Invasion Clause, has caused a strong reaction from the U.S. allies around the world, particularly in the Netherlands. Here's the second part of this particular act. It says, in addition, the law provides for the withdrawal of U.S. military assistance from countries ratifying the ICC. So if you're a country and you ratify the ICC, you support the ICC, then the United States can actually remove assistance, military assistance from you. Remember how we were talking with Chris Black, and we've talked to other people about this, how this is actually mafia. This is extortion. If you're going to let our people go to court and face justice for the crimes that they committed, then we are going to remove military assistance to your countries. At what point does the world step back and say, like, shake this off? We can't continue like this. We can't go on letting America just dictate whatever they want to do, whatever they want to do with us and the world. Okay, Mr. Mario is back in. I don't know if you were able to follow what we were doing. Hey, Mario.
Did you guys miss me? Did you miss me?
We missed you.
Listen, it doesn't matter, you know. So there was some type of a. Can everybody? By the way, Fernando, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me and see me? Hi, everybody. I'm back. Very briefly. So there was some kind of a technical crash on this end. That's why it's important to have a plan B always in place. I'm now back. I'm now back via my mobile, and you know, here I am. Everything is beautiful. Great to be back. Fernando, let's just get right back into it. Continue the show.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about now that the Taliban is in power and China is in contact with them and hoping to participate in their reconstruction, rebuilding of the nation, and their being accepted in the world. A lot of people are saying, okay, who's going to be the first country to accept them as a nation, as the true government of Afghanistan? And well, some people say that there might be some smaller countries that move on forward, but the first big country to do it is going to be indicative of, well, what is the faith of the Taliban as the government before the rest of the world? What is your guess as to, Mario, who do you guess is going to be the first one to ratify the Taliban as the official government of Afghanistan? Any thoughts?
I have one very important point on this line to add, which is the fact that while so many other Western embassies were emergency evacuating their people due to the fact that, and this is the CNN and the Drudge Report headlines, you know, the evil Taliban has gone in and nefariously taken over, and it's a disaster, you know. Then explain to me, please, why is the Chinese embassy not evacuated? The Chinese embassy is running as normally in Kabul. Did you know that? The Chinese embassy is running as normal. Okay. So again, wait. I got the answer for you, Fernando. That means that the Chinese is evil and nefarious too. That is what they want you to think, isn't it? I mean, what has been this propaganda campaign about China committing genocide in Xinjiang and all these other false, ridiculous accusations? I can only laugh. You know, laugh literally. Shame on you. Okay, heaps of coals upon your heads for your lies, trying to make the world think that China is evil and nefarious. Now, what does it go back to? It goes back to you, Fernando, what you said. You just don't know you can't believe anything they say anymore, right? So, I mean, let me ask, do you think, look, Fernando, you and I have met Chinese government people. If there's one word about Chinese government people and Chinese people that you use to describe Chinese people, it's pragmatic. Okay, they look at a situation and they're very sensible people. They're very sensible. Okay, and in China as a culture, avoidance of conflict is a major jiaziguan, which means Chinese for value. It's a major value in China. The primary goal of everything is to avoid a problem. Then we can discuss whether or not there might be something good. But the first thing is avoid. It's in the Confucian principles that drive this society. Fernando, you know this. It's in the Confucian principles that drive society here. Avoiding conflict, maintaining harmony. You know, Chinese do not admire foreigners who lose their temper. So you can imagine what my marriage has been like to my Chinese wife, because, you know, I'm the hot-headed Italian. And she's just like, I mean, Chinese are not used to people. You don't lose your cool in public. You don't lose your cool in front of other people. You lose face. You cause other people to lose face. I mean, that all this kind of thinking is avoidance of conflict, okay? And avoidance of trouble. They're so pragmatic, which then leads back, Fernando, too. Then do you think that they would leave the Chinese embassy open? Do you think, do they think the Chinese embassy people are going to get shot and killed, and the Chinese embassy is going to get attacked and marauded over by evil, nefarious Talibans? No, apparently not. So I don't understand what all this is. And the contrast is, you go over to Drudge Report. I've got the screenshot from yesterday, and the first 5 headlines of Drudge Report are all about the Taliban, and they're all negative. Women and children being attacked, 3 people got killed, this and that. I mean, the only thing they want you to think about the Taliban is not that the Taliban pledges to create a stable government, not to harm the life, property, and honor of its citizens. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't want you to realize or know or think or remember or think about the fact that the Taliban just said that. We want you to think about every negative, evil thing we could possibly want you to keep at the top of your mind, to keep you in fear of them. Well, the Chinese embassy obviously sees it differently. Who's going to be one of the first to step up and support the Taliban? Not China. They're not going to support the Taliban. They're going to give the Taliban space to prove that they then can be someone that China is willing to have a good relationship with and cooperate with and recognize as a legitimate government. That's what China's going to do. No doubt about that.
Let's talk a little bit about the refugee situation, and then we're going to get back to this Taliban and China in a second, okay? But the refugee situation, it's very clear right now. A lot of people are trying to leave China, leave Afghanistan. But who are these people? These are the people that supported the United States. These are the people who betrayed their country and sold their allegiance to the U.S. Marine Force and the U.S. Military. These are the people that want to leave Afghanistan right now. It's not as simple as that. A lot of people also are fearful for extremism coming back. But people ask, okay, so where are these refugees going to go? There's plane loaded with lots of Afghanistan. We've also those horrible videos of people actually falling from the planes. I'm not going to show you that, but I will show you something that I need to correlate to China. So Boris Johnson just said, we're not taking refugees. We're closing the border. America is thinking, okay, should we accept? We're going to accept a few. They are delaying all the processes and all the requirements for these people to come to Afghanistan. Now, there's another issue. Do you think that a few bad apples are going to, fall through the cracks and actually enter America and start attacking America in their own land? Because this is an important thing. America hasn't fought a war in their homeland, in their territory. So that'll be interesting to see how would America react to a war that is actually taking place in their land. But let's get back to the refugees. Macron also said, we're not taking any refugees. And people are asking, hey, so how about China? Is China going to take refugees? I mean, why not? Do you think for a second that China is going to take refugees who were supporting America in a war in Afghanistan? I leave the answer to yourselves, but I don't think that that's gonna happen. When America is attacking China left and right for just doing things differently and effectively and efficiently, do you think they're going to take refugees that are supporters of the United States? I don't think so. So let me get back to the Taliban and China, because I was watching Joe Rogan the other day talk about the Taliban, and everybody has this picture and this idea of the Taliban being evil organization, extremists. That's what China had in Xinjiang. Now, when people talk to me about Xinjiang genocide, and people tell me like, oh, we're back, and I'll see you in a second. Let me show you this clip. Let me explain to you why I'm showing you this video. When people talk to me about genocide, this is what I'm expecting to see. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to do something. This is what I'm expecting to see. I'm expecting to see people running for their lives, trying to get away, trying to leave the place. But when people have evidence of Xinjiang genocide, all they're showing us is what? All they're showing us is a couple of pictures of some chicken farms, GPS satellite pictures. Some of those pictures might be prisons. What? They're not supposed to be any prisons in Xinjiang? Of course there are. And they're trying to build a narrative that doesn't exist. All I ask of the people like Adrian Sense, the people like Aspie, the people, all those people that are trying to attack and claim genocide in Xinjiang, show me videos like this. Show me videos of people running away. Don't show me witnesses like this lady who apparently was in prison but renewed her passport and left China through immigration. Don't show me pictures of people alleging that they were tortured, but they've changed their version 3 times. Where is the video like this one in Afghanistan? People trying to run for their lives. Because let me show you what I can see. This is a video of what I saw in Xinjiang. Hi. So show me the sense of urgency, show me the despair, show me the running for the borders that you saw in that video that I took personally in Xinjiang. And let me remind you, I went to Xinjiang by myself. Nobody paid me, nobody organized this trip for me, and nobody knew that I was going. So what you just saw in that video is just real life in Xinjiang. How do you compare those 2 sets of videos? How can you claim that there's genocide in Xinjiang when nobody's running for the borders? Mario, what is your take on this comparison between the situation in Afghanistan and the claims of genocide in Xinjiang?
Precisely that. If you want to show me that there's a miserable genocide or even any other kind of miserable circumstances which exist in society, in any society, you would see, without a doubt, some forms of turmoil on the ground. No doubt about it. You'd see riots, you'd see public, we will use the public words, right? Public unrest of some sort, whatever that might be. And if you didn't at least see public unrest, you'd see people leaving in droves, running for the border, heading to the border, wanting to get out. You see none of those things in Xinjiang. Why? Because Xinjiang is a normal society. Hang on. Xinjiang is a normal society that when you go there, you notice it's under more security than most normal daily societies. Like here in the United States these days, in a big city, you go to a bar. Even to go to a bar in the evening in California, you walk through a metal detector, which is sick. It's a sick society over there, but that's beside the point. That's another topic. That's security. And here in China, you know, I'm in Shenyang, Fernando, you're in Dongguan, I mean, everywhere, right? Hangzhou, Shanghai, you know, there's the traffic lights, cameras are everywhere, all over the city. They're taking in tons of data, learning how to improve the cities and keeping the cities safe, which I'd say is the 2 main reasons that they have all these cameras, by the way. And I don't mind it. I'm glad, because I live in a stable, safe society. And I love that. And I need and want that. With very little sacrifice to our freedom, right, Fernando? I mean, we're here and we know. But
True.
in Xinjiang, it is also a normal society, 100%. You can be in Xinjiang, you can be in Guangxi province, like where Fernando and I were just doing our secret show that we still can't talk about because it's not out yet, hasn't come out yet, the documentary. And you could be in Guizhou province, you could be in Zhejiang province, you could be in Xinjiang, in Kashgar and Xinjiang, in Urumqi or anywhere else, Lanzhou and Gansu, and society is normal, except in Xinjiang, because of these damn Uyghur extremists, who many of them left, went to Syria and Afghanistan, and were trained by the other extremists, funded by the CIA, and then they get sent back to Xinjiang to cause unrest and destabilize the region. That is the plan, has been the plan for over a decade, has been the agenda, but China has put the hammer on it, right? And so there's more daily security in Xinjiang. You have to tolerate more daily security walking in and out of places. You know, there's more checkpoints and things like that. Other than that, it's a normal society.
I think that is one of the things that China is going to probably put as a condition before helping Afghanistan. They're gonna tell them, like, look, you've got to get rid of your extremists. You got to get rid of your terrorists. You've got to make it a society that is going to protect everybody, is going to protect women and children, the rights of women and children. They have to be respected. You need to control your extremism. And somebody was pointing a very interesting thing. They were saying, like, look, the people who live in Afghanistan right now, many of them were born and all they know is war. All they know is bombs falling on top of their heads. That's all they know. So there are a lot of people who are hoping for peace, a better life, who are pushing for moderate Islam, for moderation. Like, look, we are given an opportunity to improve our lives, to live in peace. Let's take it. What if we don't... if we give education to ladies, if we let them drive, if we let them go to university, if we let them, what if we change a little bit and in exchange for that, we get to modernize, we get to prosper, we get to be included in the global world in a peaceful and productive way. I think that a lot of the young people of Afghanistan are just, they've had enough of suffering and they're looking for an opportunity, and China could come in with a great opportunity. They were saying that WhatsApp, for example, was blocking all communications of social media in Afghanistan. It's a great opportunity for China. Swoop in with Wechat, swoop in with Weibo, something that is safe, secure, and that is not controlled by your enemy, which is the American government. So Afghanistan, reach out to China. They can help you with so many things, exporting not only things like social media and WhatsApp, but the way to handle extremism. The way China handled extremism in Xinjiang, it's a model way of handling it. America does it via bombs. China does it via surveillance and catching the people and put them in maximum security prisons. Mario, do you see any other conditions from China to include Afghanistan in the BRI? And what other projects do you reckon are coming down the path for BRI in Afghanistan?
Thanks for asking. I'm going to ask you to hold off on that question because I got a couple of real important thoughts that came up from your comments just now about Wechat. You know, again, why won't China allow Western companies, tech, communication and data companies, to come in on their terms? Because their terms, meaning Western terms, are to allow you to be spied upon, and China will not allow that. The reason that Wechat and other Chinese platforms in China are secure is not because the government wants to spy on the people, but to secure and protect the people from being spied upon by the Westerners. Think about that for a second. That's what they want to be able to do. China does not allow Apple, China does not allow the NSA to access your Chinese citizens' data. And that's what they want. they'll never allow it. So the WeChat system is a closed system that protects China from the marauding Western warmongering, spying monsters. They're the ones who are, and this is, by the way, not, I want to be clear because, I get passionate, I get boisterous when I'm saying these things. It doesn't mean it's an opinion. It's not an opinion. What I've just said is based on factual, demonstrable knowledge. This is what is required in the United States, is that they're allowed to spy on you. That the NSA, through every major tech company that does business in the United States, must provide the United States government with a backdoor entry into their systems. And Huawei refused to do that. That's why Huawei's on the outs in the West. And then they want to do the same thing in China. China said, no. We've got our own closed system, and we're going to protect our country, which includes protecting our people. And in the West, they keep trying to say, oh, the government wants to support the people, wants to exploit the people, and is using the people, and the people are oppressed. What a bunch of nonsense. And then, Fernando, I got to go to the women. So this is like WeChat and women are the two things I thought about when you were talking. One of the other points about this, improving and taking care of people, is improving taking care of the lives of women. And that was one of the other points I'd talked about in my appearance on Dialogue. You played the clip. I talked further about it, which was to say, here we are all concerned, legitimately so, that the Taliban become and offer society a more moderate Islam, as we see Saudi Arabia and other Islamic countries doing for the benefit of women. This is what China did for the benefit of women by creating vocational and re-education centers to re-educate the extremism of extreme Uyghur Muslim extremist thinking, okay, which is very, very bad for women. By going for the re-education approach, instead of drone bombing them all, sorry, that's the United States way of handling it. Let's just bomb them, So in China, they're like, no. We're not going to start bombing the terrorists who exist in Xinjiang. If we do that, we'll kill our innocent civilians as well. Oh, gee, how does that sound? That's what the United States has been doing. China's like, we're not going to allow ourselves to kill innocents while we're trying to target the extremists in Xinjiang with drone bombs. We're not going to do that. So they took a whole different approach. And it's for the benefit of who? One category, the women. The women, because the extremist Muslims treat women like possessions, whores, and baby-making machines, as the Sydney Chinese consulate so famously said. And we don't want women treated that way. But where's all the women's rights advocates praising China for improving the lives of women? But we're looking at the Taliban, and we need and want to see that now. That's part of the narrative right now. We want fear. The women in Afghanistan are in fear. Where was ever the women in Xinjiang are in fear? Where was ever that narrative? It was never there. The women's rights people were, gone with the wind on this, right? Is it a legitimate concern? Yes, it is. The China addressed it so well for the benefit of women. Their lives in Xinjiang, Uyghur society, Muslim society has become better than ever. And finally, this is the direction we need and want to see the Taliban go for women in Afghanistan. And this is where the pressure lies. And China is putting that pressure on them as well. Now, Fernando, you asked about BRI projects, kind of a separate subject. Maybe we don't have time. Go ahead. Back to you.
Sure, we're going into 54 minutes. But before we liaise into the second part of this video, I want to remind people that the world is waking up. The job that we do, the voice that we lend to China, it's important. You've got to understand that China is being ostracized. China is being castigated and punished only for doing things in a different way and proving to America and Western allies that there's other ways of dealing with COVID, that there's other ways of dealing with poverty, there's other ways of dealing with terrorism, there's other ways of dealing with, well, women's rights. And to liaise to the next part of today's video, there's other ways of dealing with capitalism. So before we go into, well, the war on the wealthy, I want to remind you of this one thing: the Hague Invasion Act. America has all the free range to do an attack and bring war unilaterally to countries around the world. When is that going to change? How are you going to make that change? Because that ain't fair. Now, Mario, let us move on to the second part of the show at a turn of 55 minutes. What is your take on Xi's war on wealth? I really like the title of today's video. It was a little bit too long, but it's prosperity for all, not a few. We've talked about all the different things that they have done. Some of those have affected me: the education reform, the Didi, which are the drivers, right? Like the Uber, the Meituan, which is like the Uber Eats, that kind of reform. So why don't we summarize some of the things that they have done, some of the things that they're doing right now? For example, the crackdown on Tencent is super important. They're going after the video gaming industry because it is an addiction. And now they're also going after the streamers and trying to reel in some of the perversities and the perversion that is, well, it's starting to appear in streaming services here in China. So it's a society that is reining in all the negative impacts of just shareholders and losing values, only money becoming the king. So why don't we summarize some of the things that have taken place? We can start with Didi, Meituan, or whatever you want to start, Mario.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You actually, you just did, and thank you, because that lead in was perfect to this topic, and it relates very much to doing things in a better way. I'm sorry to see that the West, led by the United States and the UK, I think as well, they've just lost their way on needing to remain focused as a government on doing their job, which is to take care of what's best for everyone in society. And China's been saying that all along. In fact, they've been saying that since 1949, right? When finally, after the Long March, Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai, when they broke away from Chiang Kai-shek, because nobody knows that in the late 20s and early 30s, Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist government, they were all together, and then it became very oppressive. It became a nightmare. I mean, it was a murderous regime, and go back and read the history. So finally, Mao and Zhou Enlai, as we know, Fernando, engaged in the Long March, separated, and went their own way for the people. Now, we don't forget that history moving forward. Number one, that along the way, they did tremendous things for the people. Mao's, the early China government and up through Mao's leadership did it. This is why the people of China still love Mao Zedong, because he did succeed in so many ways. And the West refuses to report on that side of the narrative. They don't want you to know Mao raised hundreds of Mao's government was for the people. And it was. He did what the US now needs to do and won't do, and what she's about to do, which is limit the wealth of the feudal wealthy lords. It's that we now have the feudal tech, the life of the feudal lords in the tech world, and they're in outer space. It's feudalism in Tibet and China and Europe all over again. Feudal lords and everyone else is a slave, and they took the money from the feudal lords, literally. Okay, now that's very messy. Okay, so it needs to be done in more reasonable ways, but it absolutely needs to be done. And along the way, this is what Mao did. So he became the people's leader and adored and loved by the people for that. However, let's not forget along the way, it was a mess and bad things, and they made huge mistakes and bad things happened. And that Cultural Revolution period was a mess. It was a mess. They made terrible policy decisions, which led to the famine. Okay, as an example. Then there was the Cultural Revolution itself with the Red Guard, and so those bad things happened, and that's unfortunate. But all along the way, all these years through the 70s and then into the 80s, China remained the communist socialist government all those years. Never said, oh, the individual is more important than the society. We have to take care of the society, build up the community, the people will be okay. And then they started really reforming big in the 80s under Deng Xiaoping. They started with manufacturing, followed the Asian tigers. You should read Michael Schumann's book to understand what happened in Southeast Asia with all the Asian tigers building up their societies via government supported, building up the manufacturing economy in Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, etc.
Japan, Taiwan.
All Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, Malaysia,
The seven tigers,
etc. Yeah, the tigers, all the Asian tigers, and China was one of the. It was last. China came in late, right? And then China did it, and then into the 90s, China started realizing we will embrace capitalism, we will embrace entrepreneurship, we will allow the government, and we want the society to prosper. And then they created this slowly evolving and transforming government, which is what it still is. That it's into this hybrid government that now exists as a hybrid of everything. It's a hybrid. It's got some socialism in there. It's got some communism in there. It's got loads of capitalism and free entrepreneurship in there. And it's the most successful. It's China's the largest, safe, stable, successful, and capable country on the planet. That's my quote, right? And that's what it is. So here we are in that situation, and she has gotten to it and going, whoa, it's real, it's happening. China's number 2 now, and here we are. Yes, what Mario just said is true, but look at the damage from too much of the neoliberal Western concepts, which goes back. Now I'm taking it back around, Fernando, to what you asked me, right? Too much damage from the damage of the neoliberal Western concepts that have caused the deterioration of society, part of which is the greed and the distortion and the corruption, which is now Western capitalism. And she is not going to allow it to ruin China. He's not going to do that.
I think that what people forget is that China does socialism. They don't just talk about it. When I listen to AOC, when I listen to all these leftists in America, even Sanders, all they do is talk, but they never get the power to do what China is doing. They wish they could. They wish they could, but they can't, and they don't. And that's why the left and the right in America look at China and they're like, sour grapes. How can they get to rein in the capitalists? How are they able to modify and completely revolutionize the education sector? How do they get their Uber drivers and their Uber Eats drivers, which here are called Didi and Meituan, to unionize, to get a minimum salary, and to get how do they get to do that? I suppose that Sanders and AOC look at that and like, is that really what I was about? Was I not just about making money? It's insane. The way the West looks at China, I keep on saying it, is they do things differently. And the worst part, the part where they need the media to start bombarding you with negative images and negative ideas about China, is that it's working, is that it's good, is that it's beneficial for the people. So they don't want you to see that. They don't want you to start asking yourself, where are my tax dollars going? Why we have crappy schools? Why do we have really bad medical service? Why do we have bad infrastructure? Why? Why do we have a homeless situation? Why do we have a society that is crumbling with 2, 3 jobs to be able to just stay afloat? What is going on with our government? That is why mainstream media doesn't want you to see what we show you. They don't want you to know what we tell you, that China is doing it the right way. And I want to connect this to um, the loss of values, because I also believe that what Xi Jinping is doing and what the government is doing is reining in this crazy race for money and making life all about money. I want to show you a picture of our friend Gordon Chang. Gordon Chang is telling us, oh, China is headed back to micromanagement of personal behavior. In other words, back to totalitarianism. Yeah? Why? Because China wants to tell influencers how to speak and dress when live streaming. What does this go to? It goes to China controlling what live streamers are doing, setting bad examples for people. People used to joke about, oh, you can't smoke on live streams. Well, is that a good example for children? Oh, you can't play with bananas as if you were practicing fellatio. Well, is that a good example for people? Is that something that is desirable? Is that a desirable trait in a society?
America does.
It takes place. It happens. Yes. But the point is that a desirable trait? Is that something that you would like out there? When you think about how easy it is for children today to access content online, do you want them to be watching, I don't know, pornography on OnlyFans? Quick note to Gordon Chang. Very funny. OnlyFans, just a couple of hours ago, decided that from October, they will not have any more sexual content. So should we say that America is going to micromanage its people? Again, why they're doing it? I know why they're doing it. I know why they're stopping pornography in OnlyFans. Because they're going to start another business, and that's how they get more money in a new startup that is going to skyrocket, and people are going to make money in the stock market. That's why OnlyFans is stopping pornography. They're going to sell it to somebody else, so they need to tone it down, but they're going to open business somewhere else. That is exactly what is taking place. That is the American model. Values? Who cares about those? It's all about money. I talk with Mike from Canada, from a YouTube channel called Journey and Destination, about this. They don't care what they do as long as they can make money. In China, that's not happening. That is not happening. But the really funny part is that when this Twitter guy, the People's Art of War, posted this thing and saying that, hey, totalitarianism is stopping people from turning every live stream into OnlyFans.com video or cam show. The moment he posted this, a lot of people from OnlyFans started posting it. So there you go. There's your information, your data on Twitter being sold by marketing companies. The guy talks about OnlyFans, and boom, OnlyFans start commenting via robots on his comment on Gordon Chang. So it's not only about wealth and the shareholders. It is a big part of that is. But to me, it's only important to rein in some of this craziness of losing values only for money. Mario, what is your more technical information related to this? Because I know you fly in higher circles than I do.
Well, they haven't laid it out yet. Actually, that's my answer. So it's not laid out yet. Okay, this most recent announcement, which came out in Xinhua, and I think a lot of our followers, a lot of folks watching now, saw it in the Twitter feed. It's in Chinese, and then several translations of it were posted. It was the first speech. It was the first official at that government event just a few days ago where they literally came out and said, they announced, I mean, this was the first announcement. We are now going much more broadly at excess wealth and excess income. Now and that's a really amazing statement because they differentiated between the two. Excess wealth and excess income is two entirely different things. You could own, there's this beautiful there's this beautiful building right outside. I'm surrounded by office towers, and I could be a real estate mogul that owns all these office towers, and every one of them could be empty, and I could be flat broke, bankrupt, because my office towers are worth $350 million, but I owe the bank $480 million. So I might own excess wealth on paper, but I'm flat broke and I don't have a salary, right? I mean, so you have to make a differentiation between excess wealth and excess income. Okay. And I'm a real idealist. I'm a pragmatic idealist on this subject, but I don't have details yet because it just came out. They're going to roll out what they're going to do on limiting income. I hope and believe it's going to be what I've always advocated. And I want to invite people to go back and read. I've got an article up on LinkedIn about this, about the billionaires are the real problem. And I did a video on my YouTube channel as well. Go there and watch my video. But I want to do more. And Fernando, we need to do a lot more on this because I believe and hope what they're going to do is what's called incremental and the incremental and threshold approach. Okay. So on that subject, now I want to go ahead and ask this and ask a question and for discussion. But before I do, I want to check with you, Fernando. Fernando, am I good to continue, or do you need to jump in with anything?
We're fine. We're fine. I just wanted to mention one quick thing.
Right, go ahead.
Deng Xiaoping said it during the Reform and Opening Up. Deng Xiaoping said, when the rich get too rich, that's a problem. We turn it into 100% capitalist. We need to rein that in. So
that's right.
It's a country, it's a government that keeps in line with what they're doing, which is something that other countries have a very hard time doing because they're all fighting for power. Here, the power is let's do good for the people. Sorry, Mario, continue.
Good. No, great. And so we're going to look at, so let's look at two sides and let's start modeling and discussing this more deeply. We're talking about excess wealth and we're talking about excess income. And the side of this that concerns me is the side where in the West with capitalism, they've created a cognitive, I hate this phrase because it's way too high, cognitive dissonance. Okay, which means your brain just gets confused. You can't comprehend something. We can call that cognitive dissonance, as opposed to saying it's just something you can't comprehend. Okay, something you literally can't comprehend. Most people can't even comprehend $100 million. Okay, so the relative to the numbers, they have you in your diluted. It's okay to be worth $5 billion. No, it's so incredibly not okay to be worth $5 billion. You have absolutely no idea, and that's exactly how they like it. They want you to not realize how incredibly not okay it is for an individual person to be worth $200 billion, because otherwise, then they can't do it to you, and they can't get away with it, and that's cognitive dissonance. Okay, so let me explain it to you. This way, there's 5 layers to this conversation. My God, Fernando, we could do a 3-hour live stream. So I want to just cut it to here. Good. Okay. If you can understand that you can't understand how much $100 million is, then you can understand that you can't understand how much just $1 or $3 or $5 billion is. Okay. You can't even come close to comprehending it. Okay. And that's the truth. And I want to prove that to you real quickly. But before I do, I want to ask a quick question. So if you knew your wealth as a businessman, as a hedge fund manager or whatever, you're some big guy and you got money. If you knew that your project would limit you to only be worth $2 to $5 billion, would you not do and that was your vision and your dream. If you knew your vision and your dream by the government's laws would only ever let you become worth a maximum of $2 to $5 billion, would you therefore not do your dream? Would you not then pursue the project? And the answer is, of course, not. Of course, that's ridiculous. You'd pursue your project anyway, because $2 to $5 billion is a unconscionably enormous amount of money. So again, this gives you the idea to understand how insane it is to let an individual become worth 20 billion or 200 billion. And again, there's such a cognitive dissonance with these words coming out of my mouth. You have no idea. It's the insanity of it is beyond. So let's go back to 100 million in case you don't believe me, right? Fernando, I don't know about you, but I'm not a millionaire. Meaning, the technical definition of a millionaire is someone who has
looking for my millions.
The technical definition of a millionaire is someone who, we're going to talk about the technical definition, which is that if you have like $1 million in cash or highly liquid assets like stocks or a house you could sell tomorrow, then you're a millionaire. Okay, now if you had $1 million in cash, to give you an idea of how comfortable that is, you could live on $5,000 a month. Net, which means you would have an $8,000 a month salary job back in America, because you net $5,000. When your job salary is $8,000, then they take out taxes and everything. You end up with $5,000. So you would have $5,000 a net per month to support your upper middle income lifestyle every single month for 20 years. And that's without any interest. The interest alone, even at only 3% on $1 million, is $2,500 a month. And that would be without touching the $1 million. That's only $1 million. Multiply that by 100. So you're now, with $100 million, you are a ultra high net worth person. You are so filthy damn rich, the world cannot fathom how rich you are if you only have $100 million. If you then multiply 100 million in scale, if $100 million is so unfathomably rich, that means $200 million is even more. That's double 100 million. So it's so rich. It's so crazy rich. You could live on, with $100 million, you could live on $500,000 a month for 20 years. Or
Guys,
$250,000 a month. And that's net for 40 years. Or, do you see what I mean? The numbers are so incomprehensible. And I'm strictly talking about income now. That's not that you have a building that's worth $100 million, okay? So you take this and you look at income, CEO wealth, CEO income, okay? Or media people. You know, one of the things we never talk about, Fernando, is the fact that it's the Western media people who are lying to everyone and deluding everyone, like Tucker Carlson and on the right, and then there's guys on the left. These guys are making Laura Ingraham. I mean, the way these people have now started lying about China and everything. Folks, do you understand that guys like Tucker Carlson and people like Laura Ingraham, Rush Limbaugh, and on the left, you know, what's his name? Whoever these guys are, Lemon and the silver-haired guy. What's the silver-haired guy with the glasses? He's gay.
I forgot.
CNN, the top guy, Anderson Cooper. Yeah,
Anderson Cooper.
That guy, right? So all these guys, whoever they are as human beings, God bless, they're making millions of dollars per year. They're not making $800,000 salary per year. They're making like Kelly Richards, whatever, that she's gone now. Okay, she was the one got famous for interviewing Trump. She was making millions. Okay, these people make millions of dollars per year, and they don't want you to understand that. Not millions of dollars once. In other words, Fernando, me and you and all of our dear readers and viewers, we would all love to make $5 million once, one time.
Set life.
done. You're done, dude. You're done. I'd like to get a $5 million project windfall, and I'm planning on it, and I'm trying for it. I want to sell 10 million books at 50 cents each. That's That's my $5 million, and I'm done, folks. That's $5 million. We all want to earn that once, not per year. These guys are earning 5 million, 10 million, and more per year. That's how outrageous it is. And the people, the workers of the companies, I'm talking about CEOs and other high-level executives like these media guys, they're all now making this kind of money. Do you understand me? How outrageously out of control it is. Now, my brother, okay, I'm bringing up my brother. I didn't ask his permission.
All right, let me jump in with an idea. You want
get
to?
My point. You get my point, right? You get my point here. It's so unreasonable and out of control. So yes, okay, I'll stop right there. There's so many more points to make on this. Fernando, go ahead.
I want people to understand how hard it is to do what Xi Jinping is doing. How hard it is to do to tell shareholders and all these capitalists and all these entrepreneurs, like, stop it right there. This is what we're doing. Let me explain. When Xi Jinping revolutionized the education system and says all tutoring centers will be nonprofits, the stock market just dropped and lots of people lost lots of money. Do you think that's an easy thing to do? Why is he doing it? He's doing it for the well-being of the Chinese people, for the minds and the well-being of the students that for decades have had no free time to play in the park, to do some sports, to entertain themselves. So when he does that, what is the immediate consequence in the United States? The stock market in the United States cancels every single IPO coming from China. Not only about education, any IPO in China. They're looking at China like, what's going on? But like, really? You're going to put society before wealth? Society before shareholders?
Yeah,
Can
they only
you
care about money.
imagine how difficult, excuse my words, but the size of the balls that you gotta have to go and tell the stock market, ain't working like that. Bye, Felicia. It's insane. And people here on the ground, people have been affected, or people who have not been affected but would actually benefit from this. They're thinking like, wow, thank you. Video games. This is the biggest one. Video games are going to be reined in via different forms of policing. Who is using video games? Who's playing video games? This is the next big this is the next big thing that's coming down, because kids now are going to have more free time. So what they're going to do? Video games. No. It's not going to happen like that. So if you're in the stock market, if you're that kind of people, look for that. That's coming next. That's the next thing that you can short and make some money there. Okay, gentlemen, we just received some information saying that I need to get to work. So that's all the time we have for today. Any last words, Mario?
Yeah, plenty of last words. So that means we're going to have to. I want to literally say it now to all of our viewers. I'm looking at this comment from Chris to clarify about what she said. She's against greed and monopoly, not against being rich. It's very true. Great point. And then there's lots of other comments I want to follow up on. Fernando, we got to wrap up. So let's promise everyone right now, folks, this is a very important episode. Let's call the next episode, episode 14, part 2, continuation, and let's pick it up right from where we are right now, because we need to do that. There's so much to talk about. Sounds good?
Remember, don't let America scrub the records of the war crimes. Bye for now.